with a live look inside a courtroom. Right now, a jury is deliberating the fate of convicted killer Donald Smith. Life in prison or the death penalty. Those are their choices. Let's get right out to First Coast News' Shelby Danielson. She'll have the latest right now. Shelby.
Well, Katie, of course, we know that the 12 people who've been listening this whole week, of course, are the same group of 12 from last week who decided that Donald Smith was guilty. And we don't know how long their deliberations will take, but of course we have a team here to give you the latest. And as you mentioned, Katie, they're in there right now, and they gave those closing arguments this morning, starting with the prosecution. Now, the prosecution started by showing a picture of little Cherish Periwinkle, 8 years old, and then they contrasted that picture by showing pictures of her when they found her at the scene where they found her murdered. And we know that the prosecution has found Donald Smith guilty of 2 aggravating factors for her death: her age and raping her while committing murder. But they're trying to convince the jury that Smith is guilty of other aggravating factors, that it was cold and calculated and a premeditated crime. But then we have the defense, and the defense actually opened up by saying that they should be angered by what the prosecution had to say. They said everyone in the room, including Donald Smith, should be frustrated and should ask themselves, do we execute the mentally ill? Do we? Now, they went on to say that deciding over life and death for Donald Smith is an incredible burden and also a, quote, awesome responsibility. Now, this is a little bit of what they had to say earlier this morning.
Under no circumstances any juror compelled to impose the death penalty. It's your right as a juror to show mercy. That is your right. But I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, based upon what you have heard and what you have seen during the course of this trial, Donald Smith is not deserving of your mercy.
What you all did last week cannot be underscored. You endured very difficult, gut-wrenching testimony. You applied that testimony to the law, and with your verdicts, you ensured that Cherish Periwinkle got justice. It was justice you handed out last week, because Donald Smith will never walk amongst us again.
And as we know, this jury must have a unanimous decision if they want to go with the death penalty, which we know the state is trying to get for Donald Smith. Meanwhile, the defense is asking for life in prison without parole. Now, after they deliberate and after we reach a decision, which is expected later today, we're expected to hear from the state attorney's office. And of course, we'll have that for you live as well. Reporting live at the courthouse, Shelby Danielson, First Coast News, on your side.